My name is Miguel Mata, first generation American, retired military veteran, and now full-time college student. In my lifetime, I've come to meet people from all walks of life, from every corner of the country and most parts of the world, and what I can tell you is, everyone has a story. On my channel, I plan to share those stories with all of you and prove that despite the differences that make each of us who we are as individuals, fundamentally, we are all the same. And I believe that through the common thread of overcoming challenges, caring for our loved ones, and helping our communities, the rest of us will realize that our world is actually much brighter than some would make us think. And now, to shed more light. This Way Out. Hello, welcome back to This Way Out. And today I have another guest. And your name, please?
Janice Carter.
Janice Carter. Now, Janice, if I start cheesing real big, it's not because, it's because I'm excited. And let me tell you why. So I started this project a few months ago, right? And everybody up to this point have been people that I have like personal relationships with, either friends or family. And you're the first person I don't know. You're the first person I don't know.
That is exciting.
That tells me that the project is expanding, you know?
Awesome.
So it's exciting. And it's also exciting because, you know, my philosophy is that everybody has a story, right?
Yes.
Everybody has a story. And for you to reach out and share your story, it just proves the theory, right? So I appreciate you reaching out to me. I appreciate you doing this. This is about it's about a few things. It's about helping people get through problems, because everybody kind of experiences the same issues, but
Sure.
not everybody knows how to get past those problems.
Sure.
And
Absolutely.
the more we share, the more people I can get to share, I think the more possibilities exist for people to be able to get past their issues.
Absolutely.
So the other
Glad
thing,
to help.
yeah, the other thing is that there's just so much bad news. So, you know,
All the time.
everywhere. I'm trying to get some good news out there.
Great.
But yeah, so let's go ahead and get started.
Okay.
Episode 10.
Ready.
Okay,
Ready.
so Janice, where are you from originally?
I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana.
How'd you show up in Charleston?
Wow, funny story. I did enlist in the Air Force Reserves, and they wanted to send me to Myrtle Beach, and I believe the base was closing shortly after. But I was like, okay, South Carolina, so far away. But I was already living in Jacksonville, Florida, working in the medical field as a nurse. So that's how I got to Charleston, South Carolina. That was going to be my Air Force base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you were headed for Myrtle Beach, but you know, because of all that circumstances, you ended up
Right here in Charleston.
you ended up detouring out here to Charleston.
Absolutely.
Excellent. What do you think of it? You like it?
I love it.
I love Charleston.
I know. And I call myself the coast girl because
Right.
I love the beaches, grew up
Right.
on the beach, and I just, you know, that water is very therapeutic as well. So
Right.
it's just the winter here.
Right.
And it's the best kept secret, and now we're no longer a secret, right?
No, the secret's out.
The secret's out.
Thank
Everyone
you, Travel
wants
and
to come to
Leisure.
Charleston.
Thank
Yes.
you, Travel and Leisure.
Thank you.
Janice, you know, we were talking offline before we got started recording here, and you have a ton of stuff
Yes.
that you've experienced, especially in your younger years.
Yes.
And
Colorful
I know
history.
colorful is one way to put it. Yeah, definitely. Colorful is one way to put it. But you've experienced a lot, and I hope that I was trying to figure out a way. How do we organize this?
Sure.
You know, how do we organize those experiences and put it together in a way that would be easy to digest.
Absolutely.
You know, for people. But honestly, I think the best thing to do is just to kind of get into it. You've got some serious stuff that you've been through, and yet here you are Look at that smile. Here you are with the big smile and the big
Yes.
laugh, you know? So
Yes.
I have to know, and I'm sure people who are watching this have to know, how did you get to this point after all the stuff that you've been through, you know? So,
Well, given that we just met, I normally not say, oh, I'm religious, I'm spiritual, but listen, I can honestly say I'm confident enough to say I attribute a lot of it to, God, that higher purpose.
absolutely.
And it could be a lot worse if we don't, study the word or study spirituality. And I think religion is love, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you practice love, it doesn't matter what religion you go by.
Mm-hmm.
But I really do accredit, the head of my life as being God, as that source.
Right.
And that's how I get through it.
Amen. I could not agree with you more. In today's society, it seems like religion is a taboo subject.
Amen.
Right? And I can understand where some people
Sure.
are coming from. For some folks, religion may not have been the answer for their problems.
Exactly.
And I would never claim that I have the strongest faith in the world, but
We
I
all fall
credit my faith as being what has put me in a good place now.
Yes.
And it sounds like you've done the same thing.
Yes.
A strong faith and a spiritual existence, if you will, I
Absolutely.
think helps in a lot of ways.
I highly agree.
Yeah. So you, as a young person, you growing up in Louisiana, you lost your father at a young age.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So I do know that my parents were married. My mother and father were married, and they had 4 children outside of their other children that they had already had. So my twin and I are the youngest of 6. But all I do remember is that, growing up with the stories, probably my first recollection of the story being 5 years old, he died when we were, not even 2 yet.
Mm.
He died of lung cancer. He was actually 34 years old.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, he was an Air Force veteran, and he also had a auto mechanic shop. So as from the guy that was told to us, he was a very family oriented guy. He was tall. He had hair down his neck. He was a gorgeous guy. He was a great family man. So those are the memories that were given to us.
Right.
To say we were just, toddlers ourselves, losing our father, our only father.
Would you say that might have made even though you didn't know your father growing up, in your formidable years, would you say that made an impact?
That made such a huge impact. And I don't want to say negatively, because what you don't know, you don't know.
Right.
But what it did do, it made me feel like I was always searching for a father.
Oh.
So that was the negative impact. But if my mother, right, gave us everything we needed, love, clothing, food, then we really weren't missing anything per se, because your parents providing everything you're needing. But when you don't have that male figure that you see your friends or your cousins or other family members doing, now I'm looking for that.
Right.
I'm looking for the daddy to come and, brush my hair or pick me up after I got a boo-boo or something like that. So yes, it definitely impacted me not having a father in my life.
But your mom was there the whole time.
She was there the whole time.
Right. I had an interview with a guy not too long ago, and when I mentioned his mom, just like I mentioned your mom, you both had the same reaction. You just light up,
Yeah, she was the best mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's no longer with us.
Nope, and she's no longer with us.
Did she pass away recently?
She passed away 2005, exactly a month before Katrina. And I say Katrina because that also affected our hometown.
Goodness.
Yeah, exactly a month before Katrina. She actually died from, she was punctured in her aorta. She was having a shunt change because she was on dialysis, because her kidneys went into renal failure. And then she also was diagnosed a few years prior with hepatitis C. Now, the crazy story there really quickly is the hepatitis C was dormant from when she had us as newborns. So we used to see these things on applications, and if you had the black lung or if you had blood products before this certain date, well, my mother was one of those carriers, silent carriers of hepatitis C, which really just failed the liver and the kidneys all at once.
Goodness.
So when she went in for that shunt change, the surgeon punctured her aorta and she bled in her lungs and she passed away suddenly.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you. That was devastating.
Yeah.
I'm smiling, but it was very
I
devastating.
understand. Yeah, I understand. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
And I don't mean to kind of keep the hits coming,
That's
but
okay.
you know, you've lost your dad at a young age, you lost your mother suddenly, but those aren't the only people that were close to you that you've lost in
No.
your life.
No.
So who else?
We lost our brother. He was a year and a half older than us, and I actually gave my brother one of my kidneys.
Right.
He went into renal failure at the age of 18 from high blood pressure. And the only way
Goodness.
he found out was he was working at a shipyard in Louisiana, Avondale, Louisiana, and he went in, some glass popped in his eye, broken blood vessel, went to the clinic, checked his blood pressure, just like that, stage 4 renal failure. He was on dialysis, and family friends checked for the matches, and I was a perfect match. So it was an honor. It was kind of scary because I was still young, but it was also an honor to be able to give my brother a kidney. And I had to learn how to walk again. He was in and out of the surgery. I had to have a long, prolonged surgery.
Yeah.
But then a year and a half later, it failed. And then he was not really knowledgeable about how important like a second chance was.
Right.
So he fell victim to drugs. And then we lost him in a car accident, like a car hit him.
Right.
So that was just a side thing that's saying, okay, it's his time.
Yeah.
But all of these things as a result happened leading up to
Right.
his death.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
With so in 2005, what year did you enlist?
I enlisted in the military in 2001.
Okay, so you were already enlisted. You were already a nurse at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe I'm connecting dots that aren't there, but I was just
Sure.
going to ask. You've been through these tragic events that involve medicine. Was that something that motivated you to be a nurse?
Funny question, and a great question. You know how you grow up and you have this aspiration as a kid to be something. Well, I felt like growing up in New Orleans, you know how family is big on you getting your education, getting your education, and I felt like nursing was like a prestigious career in New Orleans.
Uh-huh.
Everybody wanted to be a nurse, and I felt like it was today more of my mother's dream, but back then I felt like that was a very prestigious career that I can see myself doing.
Okay.
And I knew at an early age that I loved helping people. I wasn't afraid of blood or anything like that. So yeah, I felt like that would be the next thing for me growing up.
Can I give you a high five for nursing? I think nurses are some of the most underrated people in medicine. Good Lord, you guys. I tell you what, we've spent a lot of time in hospitals fairly recently, especially my son's epileptic, so he spends a lot of time in the hospital.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
the nurses are here at MUSC are awesome, but they're so
Great.
busy.
Yes.
So busy. So, and I have friends who are nurses back home, and lots of respect for nurses. Tons of respect for nurses. I know you guys hold it down in a very special way. So a lot of respect for that. We were talking a little bit ago. Well, just real quick, you enlisted into the Air Force, and you were as a reservist.
Mm-hmm.
You also mentioned, well, I'll let you tell the
Sure.
story. So as a reservist, normally you only do X amount of weekends or X amount of days.
Yes.
How did that work out for you?
So yes, we were laughing before, but yes, I signed up. My girlfriend, she did Navy Reserve, and she had a family, and she was also an LPN nurse working full time. So she sold this dream for me with the military. Oh, you can do Weekend Warrior, you can go to school, they can pay for your school. And I had already finished a lot of schooling, so my student loans were piling up. So it made sense. And when you're maxed out on, working and family and doing everything, and I was still in school, I needed some money, right? Some extra money to add to my income. When she sold that dream, I was like, well, why not? She said, but the best thing for a woman is Air Force.
Right. Okay.
So I was like, okay. So I had a recruiter. He gave me all of the information. He's like, oh yeah, 1 week in a month, 2 weeks out of the year, you can request off from your job. You see, a lot of family time won't be missed. Oh my God, it was just all, awesome. Just hearing about flying high with the Air Force, right? And I wasn't sure what job that I was going to do. I didn't really want to stay in the nursing, but I wanted to stay somewhere in the medical field.
Right.
So it was going to be great, But as soon as I enlisted, I was a delayed entry, right? March 2001, I was able to enlist, sign the oath, say my oath, everything. But September, I was still waiting on a class date, basic training date, all of those things. So 9/11, I'm in the hospital with my son. He has chronic asthma, as a baby. And on the TV, 9/11 happens.
Right.
Now, in my mind, I didn't know it was going to affect the trajectory of my Air Force career.
Right.
But when I went to basic training, technical school, all of those things, the first weekend that we got to actually start doing training, they are already letting us know that, hey, active duty is going to be getting deployed. How much can you help with these duty stations? Then it went to 2 weekends a month. Then it went to 3 weekends, then all weekends. And then they asked us to commit to 5 days a week.
Right.
And you can go home for the weekends to see your family.
Right. And I know I said I wasn't really going to explain this too much, but I think what needs to be understood is that there's a significant difference between being a reservist and being active duty. There are benefits that active duty members get versus reservists. And when you hold the title of a reservist, there are definitely benefits that you miss out on, or that you don't qualify for. Let's say it that way. And most of that is because you're not spending as much time on active duty. However, in your case, you were practically an active duty member. You just didn't possess the title, and we're missing out on the benefits.
Correct.
And how long did that go on, just out of curiosity?
This went on for at least 6 months.
Okay.
Really, in 6 months consistently.
Right.
But it went on from anywhere from 2002 to 2005, 2006.
Right.
And then even when I took the break, even coming back in 2007, because of our job being so demanding, they always needed someone in that office every day.
And all the while, you're trying to balance your reserve commitment with your own job. You still held down and you were a nurse at the time?
I was a nurse at the time.
So you were trying to
balance. Being a wife, being a mother. Yes.
I'll give you another high five for that one. I'll tell you what, man.
Yep.
Goodness gracious. And
still going back to school to actually finish the Bachelor of Science of Nursing.
Right.
Because yes, you may be working as a nurse, you may have finished as a nurse, but that Bachelor of Science puts you more into teaching opportunities, more money, more flexibility. So I could never get to that point because I was always fulfilling my active duty requirements.
You mentioned something about your marriage. Did that all this strain, the way your time was being used?
Yes.
Did that create a strain with your marriage?
It really did. And for a long time, I didn't think it did, right? We think we're doing the very best thing for our family. And then, and I was a person to actually sit down with my family and explain to them what's going to happen, what's going on. So it's not like we didn't agree on this plan.
Right.
But neither one of us knew what this plan would do to our family.
Right.
So going into it was fine. But just being away from my family, knowing I'm the one who cooks meals, get the children ready, do things as the everyday person being there, that really affected, the routines.
Right.
And then just not coming home. Some weekends I was too tired to come home. So I had to find other arrangements. So that took a toll on the relationship. He would really make an effort to come with the kids or his mom. So my mother-in-law was very, helpful with the kids, but again, we're both trying to juggle that. So it's funny you said that. It really took a toll, but being, like I told you, I'm spiritual, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was, rebaptized at the age of 21. So I've always asked God to say, show me things, help me with guidance. So I knew before we were having issues, but to really be honest about the issues, whether you're away or not,
Mm-hmm.
God will make a way for you to
Mm-hmm.
work things out.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just his way of removing the issues from my life.
Okay.
So yes, it was bitter at the time going through that straining with the marriage and the family,
Mm-hmm.
but in the end, it really was best from him, me, and the children
Right.
to separate.
Right. Well, I'm sorry that kind of worked out that way, but
Right.
you're absolutely right. I mean, anything that especially that involves the military and you had a military career and you had a medical career, and that's like number one and number two
Yeah.
most stressful jobs and
Yes.
that require the most commitment. So
So the military really saved my life.
really.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my question, because this is something that well, I guess I have two questions. First of all,
Sure.
you sound like a very driven person. Where does
I
that
can
where's that
be.
come where's that come from?
I I think we talked about this before we started the interview. Really, and for a long time I was like, I'm not gonna put a title on me. I'm a teenage parent, but having a child at a young age,
Mm-hmm.
that taught me to be driven. I mean, forever. You as yourself have to be responsible for your own life, but to be responsible for another person,
Right.
another human being, a baby, and then my twin and I, we had our babies exactly 3 weeks apart.
Uh-huh.
So now we're not only responsible for each other, now we're responsible for another baby because you
Right.
want to have each other's back. So that in itself just kept me so driven
Right.
because I didn't want to fail myself. I didn't want to disappoint mom.
Right.
And I didn't want to disappoint that daughter.
How old were you?
I was 17
Yeah.
when I had my daughter.
Yeah.
And I was unfortunately still in high school.
Yeah.
But once I graduated, it was a blessing in disguise that I was able to still graduate
Right.
from high school.
Right.
And I had her 3 months later, August 1st, 1995. So that from that day, I was like, I cannot play. Whether her dad was in my life, whether he was serious or not, I'm the one in my mind had to be serious about taking care of that little person.
My oldest daughter, is February 22nd, 1995.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but I didn't handle it as well as you did at first. But the situation between dads and moms, especially at that age, very, very different.
Absolutely.
When I was just to tell a little bit of my story to piggyback on yours.
Sure.
Oh, piggyback. Oh, that's like taboo military talk. My bad. That's a foul.
With that being said,
yeah. With that being said, I'm gonna have to probably edit that out. Okay, so or maybe not. When my girlfriend at the time got pregnant, I freaked out, and I ran.
absolutely.
Right, I ran.
So
But
did Jana's dad. So understandable.
but as God would have it, we would find each other again, and we've been together ever since.
I love that.
So.
So see,
But
you
I
went back to
understand
make it right.
it freaks you out. It freaks out I was 16 at the time, and
Wow.
I did not. Yeah, I mean, I guess I behaved the way you would expect a 16-year-old kid to
Absolutely.
behave. But when
Absolutely.
our paths crossed again, it's like something clicked. Just like with you, you became driven, you became focused, you
Yes.
became determined.
Yes.
Same. So
Committed.
I can definitely relate
Yeah.
to what you're talking about. So I understand now why you're so where that drive comes from.
And I have one more thing I guess, because, and if this is okay, I had an abortion at 15. So I vowed never to go through that again.
Right.
And, life is a blessing.
Right.
So that drive, that drove me also.
Right.
Because that was so important.
Right.
Our temple is all we have.
Right.
So to go through an abortion and experience that, I would never want anybody to have to experience that unless they have to or unless they choose to.
Right.
But that was not going to be my second choice for life.
Right. Lord of mercy.
Amen.
Lord have mercy. And here you are, and here you are. So the next thing I think that you could really so the next thing that you could share, I think that people could learn from.
Sure.
Something that clicked to me as we were talking before is when you go through these experiences, right, and you get broken down, right, especially when it comes to loss. The way I've been describing is that you get hollowed out and you kind of just implode on yourself because it creates that much damage inside you. And when you do manage to build yourself back up, I say, and I could be off, but typically people bounce back stronger. Most people do.
Right.
Bounce back from that stronger than what they were before.
Absolutely.
Maybe not necessarily in the best ways, though. Sometimes you just kind of seal off parts of yourself that you don't necessarily allow yourself or others to get back into.
That's true.
So with as much loss as you've had to deal with, it occurred to me that maybe you might have some difficulty allowing yourself to be vulnerable. Mm-hmm. Is that true, or are you in a better place now? Or does any of that apply to you?
It does. And my twin and I are very close, but we're also night and day. So I see her going through a lot of that, the hollows and shutting down, keeping her wall up. But I promised again myself to not be shut out. I have to share to the world that it's okay to go through these things and still be loving and hopeful and faithful about the future. And even today, right? As long as we wake up today and have life, that's the blessing. So a lot of those things would get me through it. And I didn't say this earlier, but an aha moment for me is I'm gonna be authoring a lot of books, right? I'm an aspiring author. And with that being said, it was journaling that saved a lot of my days. When I wanted to quit, when I wanted to give up, when I had those moments of like, okay, is my life important enough to keep going? Is my daughter's life enough? Because some people don't make it back from that. But journaling was so cleansing for me, the healing. And I still today think in 2019 at 41 years old, I think, do I still need to go see a counseling on top of my prayer life, on top of my journaling, on top of me talking to others, just like you say, imploding. But some of my dark days, I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't want to be that negative or that dark person around because I wanted to be the very best. So I don't want to say I was faking a lot of times, but I just felt so much better being happy.
Right.
So those dark days, I would have to journal, cry, but I wouldn't let anybody see me sweat because people tend to use that as a negative tone and a negative impact or a weakness.
Right.
So yes, am I stronger than I should be? Probably.
Yeah.
But it does get me through.
But I guess the follow up to that question was, do you allow yourself to be vulnerable? Are there times where you allow yourself to be vulnerable?
Now I do. About 2 years ago, I started allowing myself to be vulnerable and surrendering to the process.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. Allowing God to work through me and use me. Right. Like you said, this has been refreshing to even be honored to do this with you because the story is so crucial to share. It's not for us, it's for someone else's healing. So that's why I'm honored today as well.
So I congratulate you for getting to this point. And now the best part.
Oh Lord.
Because this is the part I love to get to because I just love to share how people overcome things and get to a place where it's like, and now look what you've experienced all these trying and difficult and difficulties. You've experienced all these things. Sure. And you managed to find your way to a place that works for you. So you were a nurse, you were in the military, you experienced loss, you went through a divorce, you were a teenage mom, etc. But now, what are you doing now?
What am I doing now? Today, I'm just a full-time entrepreneur living free. I have been with the same person for the last 15 years. We were friends first because we both were going through divorces, and then we started dating, and then we became exclusive a few years later. He proposed in 2013, and I became a full-time entrepreneur in 2013. And that's really what I've been doing for the last 5-6 years consistently, whether it was part-time or full-time. But just like you say, finding my way into another chapter. Owning my zone is my mantra.
Owning your zone.
Yeah, owning my zone, because like you said, I take a lot of experiences in my education, and the things that we've done is not going to really take us to where we want to be. We have to open ourselves to new experiences and learn new things to get to the next chapter of our life. So just embracing my processes and just doing things. So like I told you, journaling saved my life, right? And now I'm finishing my first novel. I'm finishing my first book.
Yeah.
So, if you ask me what's my vision, what am I doing now? Right now, I'm a billionaire, I'm a speaker, right? I'm an author and a wife, and still a mother.
Are you, what kind of projects do you got going on? Is there a way that we can look you up, that sort of stuff?
Yes. I have a couple of websites, but the main thing is y.oxygen.com/L629044.
And what is that exactly? What site was that for?
Basically, I'm a CBD distributor, and then we have a suite of other products and services that we just help people either make money with or save money.
Right. That CBD, that's really picking up steam.
CBD has been picking up steam, fire, hurricanes, everything.
Right.
And I think I told you the other day when we were speaking, I was the biggest skeptic there is. So network marketing, direct sales, it was like, okay, I've done the Mary Kay, right? I've done the Avon, done just about anything, right? As a side gig. But coming into this company, Oxygen is one of our partners that we're partnered with. But network marketing, right? A big X on someone's list because people think it's a pyramid. But when you turn on the switch and you pull the sheets over, we all work in pyramids. And the cliche about a pyramid is if you're exchanging money with hands, but there are no products and services. So that's when I decided to educate myself. You have products and services, you have a real company, you have a real building, you have real employees. So we are the people that will help these major Fortune 100, Fortune 500 companies market their products and services, and that's why we get paid so much to do it.
Okay.
Because advertising can be anywhere from thousands of dollars to millions of dollars. Right? And just like a Facebook, right? You can get on Facebook and market anything. And my advice there is to market it now while it's still free.
Right, yeah, that's true.
So I implore that to anyone wanting to start to show anything or sell anything. But when I got into 5 Links, again, 5 years ago, I don't really say the company name, but that's the website I give because that is our latest and greatest boom, the CBD, right? If you want to talk about looking something right up in the Bible, it's right up there in the earth.
Okay.
But it's the cousin plant to the cannabis.
Okay.
So it's the good cousin, and it's THC free. So, right, no higher euphoria. And I really say that because really, somebody may disagree with me, marijuana is not really bad for you. But if you want to talk about the THC, it means that people are still out here getting jobs. People still need to be drug screened. So that's why I point out we have a certificate of analysis stating exactly the farms in the U.S. have grown it. Our farms are right in the Florida area where it's sold, packaged, and shipped to us. And then you can pass your drug screen. And it's now, legal for farmers to do it, right? And it's now illegal for us to actually sell it. So this was just the conduit to the opportunity that I was already in. And we're excited about it because our ambassador, right, is Jawan Howard. And the way I said, like I said, I'm a full-time entrepreneur business owner. For me, just being in the industry long enough and aspiring to just be the best I can be. Because money is right up there with oxygen, right? But our oxygen's with a Z. But if we want to help so many people on a larger scale, we can't just help it with our one mainstream of income. We need more money to help others. And that's one of my visions to leave a legacy. And legacy is not just our family, it's a imprint of who you leave an aspiration to or an inspiration to along the way. You can impact anyone's life with or without money. So that's what was important for me for the vision. But then, like you said, it's booming, it's steaming. CBD, we have attached it to our compensation plan. So if someone's looking for a job, someone's looking for a side hustle, someone's just wanting to learn more about CBD, what it is, what it does. I mean, people are in pain. So we want to help people get out of pain. Not necessarily, okay, we're going to state claims of I'm going to cure your disease, but we can help you with pain.
Right.
That's what spoke to me, because now it's all connecting, right? I was that nurse to help people with their pain. I couldn't really cure their disease then, and neither can a doctor. We can recommend, right? They diagnose, they treat, but all we did was help them feel better. Where's your pain? Right. And that's what connected me to this opportunity. It's health and wellness, it's products for the home, it's products for the businesses. And now you get to actually replace spend of things you're already using in your home and make it work for you in your house or your business.
That was pretty cool. You're very passionate and well versed in your crafts now. That was really well done. Is it paying off for you?
It really is. Yeah. And a lot of people say, well, how much money are you making? I have not written my highest check yet. No, not yet. But I'm looking to replace my future husband's income and help my children invest in their businesses because they want to be future business owners. And then the thing that I can tell you is really priceless. It really taught me how to be a true business owner and a savvy investor before anything, right? We have to be the student of the business, right? So that's what it really taught me. And then like the culture with the Air Force, it really taught me how true friends are there. You don't want everyone around you when you are making your money. Right. So it's teaching you who you can trust when you are at the bottom. Right. And that was huge to me. That was priceless.
So the way I like to conclude these interviews is I like to ask if there was a piece, and you've already given so much advice already as it is, but you've got space and opportunity and audience, and if there was that one thing that you felt you needed to share with someone, what would that one thing be?
Can it be a cluster of one thing?
Sure.
And it's great that you say that. We have to reinvent ourselves a lot when things, like you say, when things like this happen. So you have to love yourself. You have to love others. You have to be compassionate, but you have to remember to run your own race. So whatever cycle you fall into your process, you have to learn how to be delivered, cleanse yourself, right? You have to also embrace the process, but then you also have to restore yourself. So that's why I say run your own race, because someone's always going to be doing something that we want to do, think we need to do. But as long as you're focused on loving yourself, everything else around you will be okay.
Yep.
So that's my advice.
I like that. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. When you're in a good place, inside, in your head and in your heart, it's funny how everything just kind of falls into place. Yeah. When you make yourself a priority. So, well said. Well said, Miss Janice. I'm so glad that you're in such a good place now. You've been through so much, and now
yes,
here you are, a successful business owner, a successful entrepreneur. You're super smart. I tell you what, I give you huge props on that. Gosh, you're so articulate. That's, some people take that as an insult, to say.
I understand.
But
and that's exactly right. It took time.
Right, and it helps, if you can express an idea, clearly, especially if you want to be successful in business. So, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I really am grateful that you did this, sat down with us, and shared your story.
My pleasure. I appreciate this.
You've been through so much, and you've come through it okay. And I hope. Oh no. I always do that. I hope. I know that
that's right.
You've shared something today that's going to help somebody.
Yes.
So I appreciate you doing that.
Thank you.
This has been another episode of This Way Out. This is my guest, Janice Carter. She's got, hopefully you stuck around for the entire episode. And if you did and you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, comment, and share. If you want to watch other videos such as this one. This Way Out is available on Facebook at thiswoe.light. Also on Instagram, thiswoe.light on Instagram, and thiswoe_light on Twitter. So if you're looking for other episodes, blogs, and there's also thiswoe-light.com. It'll all be in the information. But if you're looking for stories of inspiration, stories of motivation, some stories of encouragement, please look up This Way Out. This Way Out project, that's what it's all about, especially awesome individuals like Miss Janice Carter here. So thank you very much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.